Howdy, Tex here with you doing a Saturday alt scan. Trade Poncho is on, meaning that we are trading pretty heavily this week, and the opportunities that are presenting itself, particularly on the alts right now, are just too good to miss. So we've got a few coins to look at the moment, 7 or 8 coins here. There are so many that we are sharing at Discord, unitytradinggroup.com if you want to join us in the Discord. 100% free. We've announced that the premium section is no longer there in the Discord. Everything is free now. So we are sharing alpha every single day like this. 18% so far on ALGO, which we shared back even lower than this. We shared this at around 2,500 sats. We said, look for a break of this neckline. We got this W formation, which is my bread and butter setup. Everything as to how we trade this, you can find inside the Discord as well. But I said, come back down, look for a revisit of this 2519 sat mark, and then a move back up towards this 200 MA. Well, we definitely got that. What have we got? We've got our UTG MA fan, and we've also got our Unimoku Ichimoku indicator that's interchangeable between a number of different Ichimoku settings, which we use. So we've now breached the expectation of what we had here at around 2942 sats, which we had taken 16.89%. I've taken profit at that level by looking at where the Ichimoku is now and the ability for this to continue higher, particularly with the volume that we're seeing as well. A lot of coins that I'm focusing on this month, and as I've said to our guys a couple of times, I'm looking a little bit more at fundamentals this month, just simply due to the halvings. We've got the Shelly fork, which is coming with ADA, and I look at coin market calendar for that. Just set everything to sort by hot, change your date for the next month, and then search that. So we can see what we've got here. We've got the Verge halving, the Shelly hard fork, the BNB quarterly burn. Let's get that out of the way. The Apollo snapshots, Nulls, Bitcoin Diamond, which we're sharing a little bit more on it as well. ALGO, the Republic token launch coming very shortly. One thing that I will say with any sort of token launch or halving or whatever it is, we've only got to look to the past for halvings like the LTC halving, for example, where we have this really is the buy the rumor, sell the news sort of thing. So we have this phenomenal run up or very closely towards the date of the halving or the forking or whatever it is that it might be. And then, not to say that this will happen every time, but more often than not, we have quite a substantial sell-off either prior to getting there or shortly thereafter. So with all these coins that are running very well at the moment, particularly these low market cap coins like ALGO and a few that we're going through, trade them with caution. Certainly, the biggest thing that you need to be doing is taking profits at predefined levels. If it gets to a point where it blows completely past like what you thought it would, like with ALGO, for example, we're still moving now on ALGO. You might take 20%, 30%, 30%, 20%, perhaps or 10% and 10% and let the thing run. And if it dumps and then, you've taken profit at these major milestones, you cannot go broke taking profit. So looking at where we are now with ALGO, it has now breached what my expectation has led me to believe. However, looking north, we do have a little bit of resistance here now at 3142 sats. If we can close and break above this original 100 fib mark, being the 3066 sat mark, a break and close above, maybe a retest and then a move back up towards that 127. But looking at the daily volume coming in, Steamroller, custom indicator has been bang on thus far in terms of calling tops and bottoms, looking as if we certainly do still have a little bit of room to move. So this is a lower market cap coin. There's FOMO around it, people wanting to jump into it. Looking at the 2-day now, we're coming up against a bit of resistance here and are now sitting above this 100 MA, but certainly looking north, there definitely is a little bit of room to move on ALGO. So still watching this one carefully. May indeed get another buy-in, but after this 19% run and the big run that a lot of altcoins are seeing at the moment, just trade them with caution if you haven't made an entry as of yet. Atom being the next one. Atom we actually shared on TradingView. And I will share that with you. The original entry was down at 306 was at 2997 sats. And the reason why I shared that on TradingView and showing what we had, we've got this W formation inside of a W formation. This is another one that I'm looking for. If we can break this I guess this diagonal, it could be off to the races again. But looking at Steamroller, and again, the accuracy of what we've seen on custom Steamroller, it is very much getting towards a potential point of exhaustion here. Again, low market cap. It may continue running, certainly. I have taken a bit of substantial profit at around that 127 mark, and the rest of the profit I'll be taking very, very shortly at this diagonal line here. This was a bread and butter setup. This was the easiest call for a number of reasons, which I share a lot of. So looking at where we are now, there's not even a great deal of data for Ichimoku. So you can go to Unimoku here, our custom Ichimoku indicator, change it down to the lower settings where we do have lower trade data. And looking at where we are now, our Chiku has breached through the cloud. We have this beautiful edge-to-edge trade set up here. We're facing resistance at this diagonal. Still a lot of beautiful volume coming into this because it is low market cap, meaning it's not going to take a great deal of liquidity to move it, but certainly looking as if we are nearing the top of a move here. So it certainly would be healthy for this to cool off, albeit substantially if that were the case, perhaps. Before potentially another move higher. I'm still very bullish on Atom as I am on ALGO. So I'll be looking to take a little bit of profit, or my sort of remaining profit around this area. So I have laid in my sells, of course, as you should do, and continue to see where this sort of thing goes. So we shared this days and days ago. So this is a really, really beautiful trade. Next, AION, quite bullish on AION at the moment, admittedly. Looking at the volume coming in, it's growing on a daily basis, but that's what I'm looking for with altcoins like that. So go back to our standard settings, our standard itchy settings. Looking at where it is now, this is having quite a beautiful run as well. So another entry that I took here, the original entry was at 1,094 sats. It did come back down and retest that 200 MA. It then broke beautifully within the cloud. And has now breached outside of that golden pocket, and I'm looking for this edge-to-edge trade here. Steamroller telling us that there's still some room for movement here to the upside, and it had this descending formation, which we've seen so many times on so many alts. That is just like the world's easiest alt trade setup when things are going well. So I'm looking for this edge-to-edge trade to play out here. Looking at the 2-day. For where our again, there's such little data, but looking at where we sit now, and this is not to say this will happen, of course, but this would play out quite well. We're now sitting above the 150 MA. Where I look for topside targets, or pretty aggressive topside targets when MAs have been breached, is of course the next preceding MA. So 2,453 sats is probably a little bit audacious. I think at this point there's a lot of hurdles to get through just there. But Steamroller giving us the entry signal right before this particular run up has done so very accurately in the past as well. So I would be, I'm looking for that 22%, but as we start to get towards the top side of this Kumo, or this sort of next edge-to-edge trade, of course, we're going to find some resistance around this point. But if we can breach this 1379 sat mark, along with the Chiku, potentially hit 1487 retest, and then a continued move to the upside, that would be a very, very bullish sign for AION. But nice little bits of volume coming in. I'm just focusing on the daily and the 4-hour at the moment. The 4-hour for my entry, and the daily for topside targets using the Ichimoku or our Unimoku, and a number of other strategies, which I'm going to share a lot with you over the coming week. So that could be a very, very nice trade. MATC. Now, looking at MATC, the reason why I'm looking at MATC and WRX together is because they're both these Indian-based coins. When MATC runs, WRX tends to follow, and vice versa at times as well. We know when MATC tends to run, it tends to run. We've seen this in the past here with these big wicks to the upside and these very impulse sort of sporadic moves, and then equally as aggressive dumps. So that's where you got to be quite careful with that. But what I'm looking for now is, and again, a baby W formation. It's not an exact W formation than what I look for, but still interesting nonetheless. We've now got this diagonal and this resistance here at the 50. The Kumo is acting as 50, but what I really like is that Steamroller is trending upwards. We're trending above our MAs, and then if we can break the 50, I would expect potentially a move up towards this diagonal for maybe 10+%. Looking at the 2-day, certainly would present some nice upside moves. Again, I'm not really looking for an edge-to-edge trade here so much. because there's quite a lot to sort of hold that back before we do get there. But looking left and the structure that we had after this dump, we can break this 50, then there's not really a great deal holding it back. We can see how we've moved quite well in the past here from this 50 area, this 238 sat mark. So a few things to look out for here on MATC. Quite bullish. I haven't necessarily looked at the daily volume coming into that as of yet. It is sort of dwindling there if I were looking at that. But looking at this wick here and the ability for this to potentially make some moves to the upside makes me pretty bullish on MATC. But again, that could change. Let's not run into anything just yet. Do further analysis of yourself. This is just what I'm looking for. So looking for this now, this is a topside target for WRX. I'm going to go back to Unimoku here just very quickly and change that to the 10 setting because it's going to, we don't have as much trade data to go off. Sitting quite nicely above, we can see that we retested the bottom of the cloud. Unimoku with these little dashes here is telling us that we have a potential edge-to-edge trade playing out. This was sort of the liquidity zone that I highlighted a long time ago. And we've got this, again, if we saw it a moment ago on AION on a mini scale, this is sort of like on a larger scale now on the daily, this descending wedge here and a break out of that wedge. So the resistance that has sort of held this back that I've had drawn for a few days now is this 1517 sat mark. Admittedly, Steamroller is looking a little close to overboard, but there's a nice volume gap there that if we can break or sort of breach, if we can break this 15 sat mark, there could be a nice 10% trade in that, or if we're being a little bit more conservative, 6.84% or sort of just south of 7% potential gains in that. And if MATC were to run, then as I said, I would expect WRX to have a little go and see where that might be headed as well. Next, ZIL. This coin has been so good to me this year. Selling out at around 300 sats was a really was a good trade on this one. Again, this descending structure where we're playing inside this channel at the moment that I've got drawn up here. I'm not overly convinced on the volume, but what I'm looking for is a potential break. And you'll say, you know, for the fib warriors out there, you got your fibs drawn the wrong way. Well, no, I haven't, because I've had the fibs drawn in from this level here to here. And we can see how they've been respected to a degree with the major bounce off and around this 61 fib mark. So as I've said in the past many times, that when we break from one fib and we get a move to the upside from these, you know, these extension levels, the next levels up tend to sort of act like magnets, which I'm expecting at the moment. So I'm expecting at least the 229 sat mark to be hit on this potentially. I do have this little channel drawn out that I've had drawn for a little while up to that 239 sat mark. Steamroller showing us that we do have a little bit of room to move, and looking at, yeah, so ZIL's one that I'm looking at. I'll probably have to go back and have a look at the daily volume and see what's coming into it. But ZIL, again, another low sat cap, low cap market coin, and tends to have already has a little bit of a cult following going on. So we can see that when this looks very much like XTZ if you go and chart that, which I'll just chart for you very quickly. Looking like that in the sense that we get these descending structures move up, descending structure, descending wedge move up, move up, move up. So for ZIL, it could very much be like that. We've had a couple here before sort of impulse moves up. We've had the same thing again here, a move up. So yeah, I'm still expecting more upside targets, but I'm looking to see what we can do around this area, this 230, 220 sat mark, a close and break above, because you can see we've, you know, very technically we had a higher low from that point, from this point here. But if I could break above 240 sats, I would be pretty bullish on ZIL. Quickly, ONT. And the reason why I shared this again is because it's in this this parallel channel here that we've got. I could not even tell you when I drew this. It must have been back down here, back in early May. I have not actively traded this, but someone asked me to have a little bit of a look at it. So a really nice reaction here off this parallel channel. Looking at where we are now, a bullish Kumo twist happening there. Also, I'm just gonna actually just going to get rid of this. So looking at where we are now, potentially looking quite good. Although Steamroller is telling us that we might be coming towards the end of a move here, but I'm going to ignore that for the meantime, because what I'm really looking for is the reaction around this 200 MA. We can see that we've breached, we've hit the 200 MA, bounced beautifully. And again, if you can spot that, oh, that's very rough, mind you, but look at the reaction off that. Straight off the 23, straight off the MAs, break back up towards the 200 MA, 15% thus far. Hitting the resistance now at the 200 MA, but I'm looking to see if we can get a close and break above this 200 MA, because we haven't done that for some time. And I would imagine the last time that we did it, we would have had a nice reaction. We did. Nice. So this is really the state of play right now. Looking at our VPVR, what is that showing us? And we could very much have this sort of move upwards if we can break above that 200 MA. Let's have a look on the 2-day. Tell us what that's. We'll see what that's telling us. Oops. So 100 MA acting as resistance right now, but as Unimoku is telling us, we do have a potential edge-to-edge trade playing out here. Now, I'm not taking this as gospel. Do not take this as a trade entry whatsoever, but I'm looking for the reaction around this 700 sat mark. Can we break this previous resistance here at around the 702 sat mark? Break and close above for a continued move to the upside. That's probably what I'm going to look for on OMT. So definitely going to keep that in my repertoire. Thank you for suggesting that one. QTUM, not a coin, not a coin I trade, admittedly. So let's have a little bit of a look at this. Someone's asked me to chart it. Not, I wouldn't say this is looking great for QTUM. What I'd be looking for is see if we can get a hold above this 2217 sat mark. Steamroller is screaming at us, and we can see the reactions that we've had in the past with Steamroller has been quite accurate in the past. Yeah, I want to see if we can get a close and break above 2217 and see what this Chiku is doing. Is it breaking above and holding above the Kumo? Is that going to show us what could potentially happen? I'll just change the setting here very quickly. So the standard setting is giving us a beautiful entry right down here, back at 1841 sats. I'm not ultimately expecting too much of an upside move. Looking at where we've gone with QTUM right now, we've done 27 odd %. But looking at the amount of alts that are popping right now and the volume coming across to the market, I guess sort of globally across a lot of alts, then it very much could just buck what the TA is telling us. Yeah, it's hitting a lot of resistance here at this at this 2246 sat mark. Yeah, it's going to be a lot of resistance there, and I'm not too sure how it's going to react from there. But admittedly, last couple of days, really nice volume going in, some pretty crazy wicks there, and got a little bit of stability here now on the daily. So, yeah, eager to see what this does. I'm not writing it off just yet, but let's see what happens. I'm going to chart this up very quickly. The reason why I draw so many lines is, keeping in mind this is on the 2-day, so you might be like, well, there's not much room between that. You're drawing a lot of lines, but well, no, there's still 7% between that. So I'm happy enough to draw those in and look at potential levels for resistance or sell-offs and this is what works for me. It might not work for you. So that's totally cool. Yeah, interesting. So yeah, let's see what happens around this level. Certainly interested to see what happens around around this 2322 or two. Let's say 2300 sat mark. Let's move on. XLM. Admittedly, I exited this position way too early. I shared this back down at this parallel. Excuse me. This midline here of this parallel channel, and I sold out at 15%. I kind of went against my rules because I wasn't expecting this very big impulsive move that we had on this. We've since done another 30% for 45% in total. Steamroller, again, you can see the accuracy of Steamroller giving us an entry position here, giving us this exit position back here earlier. XLM, I'm not entirely sure what's going on with that or why that has pumped. Not entirely sure. I'll probably have to look more into that as I'm out of it. It's kind of left my frame of mind. But looking at where we are now on the 2-day, we just hit the 200 MA on the 2-day. And the next extension point from here, if we can break and close above here, would be the 61, the 1139 sat mark. Admittedly, looking at the structure to the left, there's not a great deal holding that back. So if that can close and break above this 200, then there certainly might be some more upside moves in this. Yeah, looking pretty good there on XLM. I'm kicking myself for exiting that trade. But anyway, there's always another trade that goes on. So there you go, Texas weekend alt update. I hope you enjoyed this. I'd love to hear your comments or thoughts or any charts or coins that you might want me to chart in the future. I'll be doing this a lot more regularly from now on. As I said, you can go to unitytradinggroup.com for the free Discord. We're sharing all this stuff every single day now, every single day. If you're paying hundreds of bucks or if you're paying anything for a paid group, come over here and you can get it for free. Twice weekly, we're doing video updates as well, Tuesday, Thursday night, 7:30 Melbourne time. And I'll be jumping in every so often and doing more things like this. And I'm in there every single day, as is ads. So to happy alt trading, to happy coin trading, enjoy your weekend. Have a wonderful day. And I will see you next time.